Today, I'm going to tell you 3 mysterious stories that seem ordinary, but behind them lie truths that will shock you. The first story is about Sarah Williams, a daughter who uncovered her own family's deepest secrets. The second is about a prisoner living his last 24 hours before execution. And the third is about a young man whose summer job leads him to a haunted fair where every laugh is followed by a scream. 3 stories, 3 mysteries, and 1 question. Are you ready to know the truth? Sometimes people live their lives thinking their life is normal, waking up in the morning, going to work, meeting people, and sleeping peacefully in the evening. But have you ever considered that everything that appears normal in your life could be part of someone else's game? Have you ever felt that some people don't just meet you, but come across your path with an ulterior motive? This is the story of Sarah Williams, a girl who thought she could now live her life on her own, but she didn't know that a secret society was already watching her life. The morning of September 12, 2007, Granton University, New York. It was a cold morning, a light breeze and yellow leaves falling from the trees outside the window. 20-year-old Sarah Williams looked at herself in the mirror. She was smiling, but there was an unspoken fear in her eyes. She was getting ready for her first college class. She adjusted her clothes, put her books in her bag, and said to herself, "I'm grown up now. This life is mine." But then there was a knock on the door, slowly, 3 times. Tock, tock, tock. Sarah's steps stopped. Who could it be at this time? She thought to herself. She looked out and saw 2 police officers. Their eyes were cold and their faces were expressionless. One officer said, "Miss Williams, we need to ask you something about your father." Sarah's heart began to pound. Father? He had died 7 years ago. But why the police? Now the first question arose. Was Sarah's father's death truly natural, or was someone suppressing the truth? The police reported that new information had emerged, that her father's death wasn't a heart attack, but rather it might have been a case of murder. Sarah felt as if the ground had slipped beneath her feet. Her father, the one she had lost, was now being questioned. The police asked a few questions. Do you remember feeling strange that night? Did your father fight with anyone? Did he ever mention a club or a secret organization? Sarah nodded. She couldn't remember anything, but the words secret organization stuck in her mind. Sarah called her mother Lacey that evening. Her mother's voice was shaking. The police came to me too. Sarah said, "Mom, I'm coming home." She left everything and went home. At home was her younger sister, Bailey, 17, who was crying. The 3 of them hugged each other, but there was something in the air, as if someone was watching them. Sarah drank a little wine that night, but the next morning, she was in a very bad state. It felt as if poison had spread through her body. She was taken to the hospital. Doctors said she must have been exposed to a toxic substance. But how? Second question, was someone poisoning Sarah, or was it all just an accident? While she was in the hospital, the police arrived again. They had a note that read, "The truth is in your blood." The note didn't seem to be written by anyone else. It was her mother's handwriting. Slowly, secrets began to unravel. Her mother, at the behest of a secret inner circle society, had murdered her husband and later her step-husband. This society's purpose was the DNA Purification Project, a blind experiment that researched human emotions and genetic traits, and Sarah was part of that experiment. Third question, was this just a psychological game, or was Sarah's life predetermined? Police solved the case. Lacey's mother was sentenced to 51 years in prison, but the real question was Lacey alone? The police found numerous documents in her home, marked SS, Secret Society, and in those files were many names, doctors, professors, politicians. One of them was Dr. Mark Roberts. Was Sarah's story connected to Mark Roberts? Was it just a coincidence? The time is now, March 31st, 2010. York City, Pennsylvania. Dr. Mark Roberts, 55, is sitting with his friends. There's laughter and fun going on at Hooters restaurant. But in the eyes of the cameras, everything was not normal. Mark's ex-wife, Alice, had been murdered in their home at the same time. But Mark was innocent. There was CCTV evidence. But when the police investigated deeper, they found some strange things on the walls of Alice's house. The society's symbols, the same ones that were in Sarah's mother's house. Was this the same secret society that ruined Sarah's life? Every story begins with a truth and ends with the blood of that truth. Sarah's hands trembled as she looked at the note. The smell of ink on the white paper was still fresh, as if someone had just written it. The truth is in your blood. This sentence rang like a hammer in her mind. She sat up in bed, clutching her head. She felt as if the walls around her were collapsing. She wanted to scream, but her voice caught in her throat. The police officers stood silently. One said, "We know this is difficult, Miss Williams, but if you remember anything about a name, an event, a symbol, please tell us." Sarah nodded, but inside she was broken. She didn't know who to trust now. One night, while she was alone in her hospital room, she heard strange noises coming from the corridor outside, slow footsteps, as if someone were standing outside her room. She slowly pulled back the curtain. No one was there. Only a faint mark on the wall, 3 intertwined triangles resembling an ancient symbol. She wondered, was this symbol just a coincidence or part of a deeper network? The next morning, the police took a statement and left. But when Sarah looked at the discharge paper, it was signed at the bottom by Dr. Mark Roberts, the same name that would later appear in another case. York City, 2010, nighttime. There was laughter and cheers inside Hooters, but outside, the wail of police sirens. Dr. Mark Roberts, a retired doctor, was at a meeting of the Orange Shorts Club with his friends. It was their weekly ritual, a place where they would drink, talk about old times, and hide the truth with a joke. But that night, Mark's world was about to change. Alice Roberts, Mark's ex-wife, was alone in her home. She picked up a glass of red wine. Some papers were spread out on the table, insurance document, old photos, and a page with the words OS-final names. At 8:47 p.m., a loud noise resounded, and everything stopped. Alice lay there, still. The police broke down the door. There was no sign of force. The clock in the house had stopped at 8:47. The police found an amulet there, the same symbol with 3 triangles, and beneath it was written S.W. Sarah Williams. At that point, the only question was, were Sarah and Alice connected to a mysterious organization, or was a third person connecting them all? Mark was interrogated. He said, "I was at the restaurant. Checked the CCTV. That was true. But when the police accessed Alice's old emails, one name kept appearing repeatedly, Project OS. And every email was sent from the same IP address, belonging to an old medical server where Mark previously worked. That night, sitting in the police office, Detective Hall said to his partner, "It all connects. Sarah Williams, Mark Roberts, and now this Project OS. Maybe it was some kind of experiment on human emotions." A week later, Sarah was reading her father's old diary. The pages were covered in codes and symbols. Some had names, Mark, Lacey, Alice, and in the middle was written, Phase 3 begins after cleansing. What did cleansing mean? Was it a hint at someone's demise? She tore out the page and kept it. Below it was written, "They're watching you, Sarah." That same night, she received an email saying, "Stop digging or you'll end up like them." She shuddered. Who was watching her? Was this secret society still alive? Sarah tried to contact the police, but they said, "The case is closed." She was left alone with her questions and fears. She left town and went to Pennsylvania, where she happened to meet a journalist who kept old files named Ethan Quayle. Yes, the same Ethan, who later became death row prisoner. Ethan was formerly an investigative reporter. His job was to get to the bottom of cases that the police had closed. Sarah and Ethan met at an old coffee house. Ethan overheard, "I think my father's death is connected to a society." Ethan replied, "I was working on this society too." Together they began their search, piecing together names, dates, symbols, everything. Gradually, the picture became clearer. This secret society wasn't just any club. It was a scientific and spiritual organization that believed that sacrifice was necessary to purify the human soul. Each member offered a sacrifice by killing someone close to them. Was this all madness, or was there really an organization that experimented with human souls? Ethan and Sarah decided to expose this society, but before they could do anything, Ethan was accused of murdering his girlfriend. All the evidence was against him, and that very day, his name resonated in the media. Ethan Quayle, the death row reporter. Sarah disappeared. The police never found her, and Ethan was in prison. But when he was interviewed, he simply said, "I've seen the truth. I've seen them. And when they want, you'll see it too." Who are they? Is there really a secret society that plays with human lives? Ethan's statement ends there, but this story has just begun. Everyone fears death, but few know that death is just a door, behind which lies another truth. The prison clock read 11:36 p.m. Every cell was silent, except for one cell where someone was breathing heavily. Ethan Quayle, the journalist whom everyone now called the death row reporter. The camera slowly zooms in on his face. In the dim yellow light, his face appears dull, but there is a strange peace in his eyes.
This video is created for entertainment and educational purpose only.